What's good? Excuse me. What's good, people? It is Tony the Savant, and we are live again. And today we are recapping the Thursday night football game between the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. As this was an interesting game, another AFC East rivalry game. Last week, of course, we got the Bills and the Dolphins, where the Bills looked absolutely spectacular. And this week we get the Jets and the Patriots. And this game was, if I had to describe it, utter domination by the New York Jets on both sides of the football. Aaron Rodgers had a virtuoso performance, and the New York Jets defense looked like it was a top five defense last night, albeit against the New England Patriots, who have been decimated. There's hardly a name outside of maybe Ramondre Stevenson on the New England Patriots that anyone would recognize. So some growing pains for them for sure. But before we get started into this recap, ladies and gentlemen, please like the video, share the video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe. As I drop content daily, go live daily, stay very busy on the platform. And last but not least, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, Aaron Rodgers had himself quite a game. Two touchdowns, 281 yards, nearly 327 of 35. He is my player of the game this particular game, as there has been some speculation since Aaron Rodgers went down with his injury last season. 4 plays into the season. Oh, hold on. Respectfully. Yeah. Let's put the player of the game on the screen. 27 to 35, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns. And again, a lot of people thought that Aaron Rodgers was done. Me, as a Green Bay Packers fan and an Aaron Rodgers supporter, I feel like he's still a little. It was a little bit more, squeeze in that orange. And last night he really displayed that even at 40 years old, he's still one of the more formidable quarterbacks in the league. And I just want to put a caveat on it because it was against the Patriots. But a football game is a football game. Everybody's getting paid. So Jets are now 2-1 behind a spectacular performance. Let's go over the box scores real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, right here. This one. All right. Let's start with the New England Patriots, man, as it was a very, very dark game for them. They only were able to score 3 points on the evening. And again, it's because the New York Jets defense clocked in and they look absolutely elite. If the New York Jets defense can play like this every game, I don't see why the New York Jets will not be in the AFC Championship game. We already know about Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall, Aaron Rodgers, all of these guys on the offense. But this defense, man, if you wasn't aware, even with all of the injuries and still with Hassan Reddick holding out, this defense still has plenty of talent on it to get the job done. But they were absolutely nightmarish for Jacoby Brissett as he was sacked 5 times in last night's game. Threw the ball, he went 12 of 18 for 98 yards, and was just haunted by the New York Jets defense. The game got out of hand pretty quickly, but by the third, fourth quarter, it was the dust was settled, and we got to see. I believe he was the third or the fourth round pick. I mean, third or the fourth pick for the New England Patriots, the new quarterback that they drafted this past offseason, in Drake May. Now, Drake May, I think he's still developing. He's still, learning under the wing of Jacoby Brissett and Gerard Mayo and getting the hang of, what his role is going to be as the starting quarterback for this franchise. But they plugged him in to get some reps last night. He went 4 of 8 for 22 yards, and he was sacked twice in his limited amount of time of play. But it was good to see that the Patriots do have trust in the kid to at least put him in. Sometimes teams will just stay with the vet or whoever the quarterback is in the game. Whoever the quarterback is in the game, and whatever is the case. But it seems to me that they have enough trust in the kid to give him some reps. And for the most part, I don't think I have an opinion on Drake May just yet. I'm just happy to see that Gerard Mayo trusted him enough to give him some reps in a real time game. Antonio Gibson led the way. Actually, no, he didn't. Uh, Antonio Gibson, half of the Lightning and Thunder combination for the New England Patriots running back room. Everybody's pretty familiar with Ramondre Stevenson. I think he had an injury scare at one point in the game, but he did return. But Ramondre, he rushed for six carries, 23 yards, no scores. Antonio Gibson, the other half of that combination, 5 carries, 29 yards. These guys weren't able to do absolutely anything last night against that pass rush, as Will McDonald looked very scary last night. Quentin Williams, he's been pretty quiet this season so far, but he was able to get on the board. I don't think Quentin had any sacks. Let me see that. I don't think he had any sacks, but the pass rush was real last night. Again, the Jets were able to come up with five, well, actually seven total sacks, including the two on Drake May. Sorry, I'm trying to see if Quentin Williams was able to get a sack last night. He was. Yes, he was. He got one. As Solomon Thomas had a half a sack. We'll go over their defense in a second. But on the New England Patriots defense, it's just really nothing to talk about. They were able to get one sack. Joshua Uche got him a sack. Who was the Dietrich Wise Jr. was able to get a sack as well. But just a quiet night for this Patriots defense. I think that they really have a lot of issues to figure out in terms of the pass defense. Excuse me, as Aaron Rodgers was able to slice them up. I recall Geno Smith last week. He, was able to slice their defense up as well. Joe Burrow, they was able to hold Joe Burrow, but I just think that was more so the issues that's going on in Cincinnati than actually, the defense stopping Joe Burrow. But at the same time, they had an opportunity to really make some noise tonight, especially in this AFC rivalry game. Me, I'm always interested in rivalry games because both these teams know each other's playbooks, back and forth. But again, the Patriots just don't have the personnel right now to be really in the mix. And they was able to get a good win over the Bengals, but it's just been all downhill from that point on. Um, Aaron Rodgers last night for the Jets side of the football again just had himself a game, really rewound the clocks, the hands of time, and reminded people that he is still here, even at 40 years old. I've been singing Aaron Rodgers praises. I mean, he's been injured, so we really didn't see a fall off. Last year with the Packers wasn't that great, but I didn't think that he had fallen off to the point where he still couldn't be an elite quarterback in the league. But again, he had 27. He completed 27 of 35 passes, very efficient, 280 yards, 281, excuse me, for two touchdown scores. He was sacked two times. And just to, sing his praises a little bit more, Aaron Rodgers was moving very well inside and outside of the pocket. Again, it reminded me of Green Bay Packers Rodgers. He just had a vintage virtuoso performance. Was making all kinds of darts. I got Garrett Wilson on my fantasy team, so that 2 yard pass that he made to Garrett Wilson was utterly impressive. It don't seem like those two are on the same page just yet. As far as I feel like Aaron Rodgers has a little bit more comfortable. He's a little bit more comfortable throwing it to Alan Lazard because they both were in Green Bay at the time. So there is that history there. But I believe that Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are going to be a formidable duo this season. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before they end up finding their way and clicking. For the receiving core, no, let's go with the rushing. This young guy, Braylon Allen, who has just been utterly impressive in his few games that I've been able to see him. He's been a good complimentary back to Brees Hall. He was able to carry the ball 11 times for 55 yards. Very serviceable. I recall him having an 11-yard rush where he just fought forward and like this young man, he's only 20 years of age right now. The New York Jets boast the oldest player in the NFL as well as the youngest player in the NFL right now. So Braylon Allen is only 20 years old, and he's already given this New York Jets offense some good production. Brees Hall, the star running back for this team, he had 16 carries for 54 yards. Also had a touchdown score. So Brees has been very active. He also had 4 catches for 29 yards. So Brees just is that dual threat. And I've said this before. I tried my hardest to get Brees Hall on both of my fantasy football teams. Just didn't work out because I'm very high on Brees Hall. Even last year with his injuries, I had him on my fantasy team last year, but the game he did play, he was spectacular. He dropped a few. He had some last season. This year with left this year. A good touchdown score on rushing, and then it was uh, serviceable on the receiving core as well. They even lined them up at one point. They lined them as a slot receiver. So Brees Hall is very uh, uh, what am I trying to say? Brees Hall is very talented, diverse. The receiving core, again, Al Lazard had 1 touchdown, 3 yards, 3 receptions, 8 yards. I feel like Al is like Aaron Rodgers right now. He's got 3 touchdown scores. Alan Lazard, you have fantasy. I think you should get Lazard like a team. Just have him on the bench for now. I think production to or maybe flex right now if you don't have a better option. But I've seen from Alan and Aaron Rodgers these past 3 weeks is a comfortable chemistry there, and for sure, Alan Lazard is going to get some targets. He had 3 targets and 3 scores this game, 3 receptions this game. But as the okay, I don't know what happened. Hold on, let me. Oh, StreamYard ain't getting janky, man. A whole StreamYard ain't getting janky. I don't know what just happened, y'all. So, just jump back in if you can and when you can. I'm gonna pick up where we left off. Mike Williams, who's had a very quiet season so far. Of course, coming off of his injury, I believe he had an MCL, ACL. He had one of those severe injuries last season, kept him out for a long time, and he's getting back into shape and getting back into form now. Um, and him and Aaron Rodgers both, they both looked fantastic this game. He also had 3 receptions for 34 yards. Not a lot of, flashy numbers, but you got to give Mike Williams his credit. He's come in and to be the number 2 receiver, and he looked good this game. I think that's going to only improve as we move forward. Tyler Conkin led the way with 5 receptions, 93 yards. The tight end for is Tyler the tight end? I think he's the tight end. But anyway, he's been very quiet as well, and I'm glad to see him finally getting on the board. Braylon Allen, we're singing that young man's praises early as far as his rushing abilities. He had 3 receptions himself for 13 yards. Boom, 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 boom. Garrett Wilson, my guy. He had a fantastic 2 yard touchdown reception from Aaron Rodgers. And very impressive how he was able to get that touchdown. It required a lot of focus and body control. So it was good for him. But he also had 5 receptions for 33 yards and a touchdown score. So um, like I say, man, this offense for the New York Jets, I think a couple of these guys like Tyler Conkin, like Alan Lazard, of course, Mike Williams, you don't hear their names that often, but these are guys that you need to be on the hunt for, on the watch out for, because at any given time, especially with a quarterback as experienced and as talented as Aaron Rodgers, any one of these guys could have a big night at any given time. And it's starting to look a little bit better. This Jets offense getting a lot more comfortable. Defense, man, it was giving Jacoby Brissett and Drake all kinds of nightmares. I mean, let's just say they gave Coach Gerard Mayo all kinds of nightmares this game. I'm sure whatever the game plan was for them offensively was quickly thrown out because the defense for the New York Jets from snap one was on straight business. And again, just it wasn't a terrible night for Jacoby Brissett because he didn't have any interceptions or anything like that, but you could just tell that he was not comfortable the entire night, just running for his life, not being able to really get any chemistry with one of his receivers. I mean, Demario Douglas, he had a decent night, 7 receptions for 69 yards. But you look at the rest of the numbers for these guys. Jalen Polk, who's their rookie wide receiver, he only had 2 catches for 13 yards. Austin Hooper had a big catch for 19 yards, but that's it. And then we've seen a lot of production come from the tight end and the running back positions as far as the receiving duties go. We've seen a lot of work go to the tight end, like Hunter Henry and Antonio Gibson has been a good out of the back receiving running back, but outside of that, man, it's just really nothing to see on the New England Patriots side of the offensive side of the ball. And the New York Jets prove that. If this team goes up against the Patriots, I'm speaking of, they go up against an elite defense. It's going to be a bad night for them. But Quincy Williams led the way with 8 total tackles. He had no sacks, but he had a tackle for loss. Very impressive. Sauce Gardner was putting in work. I believe he was guarding. He was covering Jalen Polk for the most part, and he was able to keep the young, um, talented receiver, the rookie talented receiver, out of the mix for the most part. Will McDonald, another good game for him. Last week he had himself 3 sacks. This today he had, last night he had himself 2.5 sacks. So that gives him 5.5 on the season. And Will McDonald, again, as decimated as this defensive line has been for the New York Jets, Will McDonald has been stepping up, and I think that he's going to have himself another breakout season. I believe this is his second year in the league. He was pretty good last year, but he's only getting better, it seems to me. And again, with Hassan Reddick sitting out, Jermaine Johnson going down, he's out for the season with his injury. I think Will McDonald has plenty of opportunity now to step up and help a guy like Quentin Williams, who had a sack himself, um, be a nightmare on that defensive line. Tony Adams. Sorry, I'm just looking at. Yeah, no interceptions. I thought Tony Adams got an interception, but it was on a Hail Mary play. He just knocked it down. But the rest of these guys, Javon Kinlaw got him a sack. Michael Clemens half a sack. Leonard Taylor, the third, had half a sack. Todd McKinney, Solomon Thomas had half a sack. It was just a busy, busy night, a good night for this New York Jets defense. Again, I pegged them to be a top 5 defense with all of the talent that they have. And, I forget who their defensive coordinator is, but I think he's a pretty good coordinator from what I've known about him. New York Jets, man, they one of my dark horses. They're my dark horse out of the AFC. To be the Super Bowl champion. I got the Kansas City Chiefs repeating in the AFC. That's my money choice. The Jets are my dark horse. And last night's game just displayed why. If this team is clicking on both sides of the football, they have more than enough to beat any team in the NFL. And on the NFC side, I think I had the 49ers winning it and the Atlanta Falcons as my dark horse. So, it's just those are the 4 teams that I'm watching very closely for because of, my high expectation for them. And a game like this, again, just makes me feel good about the New York Jets. And they was able to get this done at home. This was Aaron Rodgers' first full game at home as last year, in the season opener. I believe that we all know he went down with that injury on the 4th snap of the game. Just really took the air out of the Jet Stadium last season. So it was good to see him make his return this year, play a full game, not just a full game, but a great game. Nearly 300 yards for Aaron Rodgers again. There were some historical implications in this game as the Patriots had 8 games, 8-game winning streak, in the Jets stadium. So the Jets were able to snap that. They also, I believe they snapped it last year, but they had a 15 game losing streak to the Patriots. I believe they snapped that last season in January. I recall that. That was Bill Belichick's last game coaching the Patriots. So, some good signs for Robert Saleh and the New York Jets. They're trending upwards. That first game against the 49ers, I don't think they look horrible. They just look very out of whack, as far as them early season cobwebs that everybody has to work through. But now we're getting into the groove of the season. Third week, fourth week, fifth week is usually when you see the good teams start playing good, and this is a good sign for the New York Jets. So very exciting Thursday night football game. And the Jets utterly dominated. If you are an Aaron Rodgers guy like myself, you probably enjoyed last night's game. If you're Aaron Rodgers haters, because I know it's a number of y'all out there as well. I don't have any gripe against the Aaron Rodgers haters, but a lot of people were saying that Aaron Rodgers was going to fall off this year. That he was going to look bad, and he didn't. That wasn't the case, at least last night. I mean, it's not been the case the entire season. It's just Aaron Rodgers hasn't looked himself, but he's been just as efficient. Now he's starting to get some touchdown scores on his stat sheet. And again, when you got budding talent like Braylon Allen and Tyler Conkin and all these guys, Alan Lazard, that you didn't account for, being productive, this is just gonna get better for the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers and again Coach Saleh. So that's all I got for y'all on this one. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about the game. Again, I feel like this was a good one, and the New York Jets got the Broncos next week, so that could be another good game for them. As the Broncos are in disarray right now, I believe that Coach Sean Payton needs to start getting some blame. He start heating up that seat because I feel like Bo Nix has the arm. He's talented, but I don't know if the Jets. I mean, I don't know if they have enough for the Jets right now, and especially if the Jets go into their stadium. I believe it's at the Denver Broncos. Let me see. If the Jets go into their stadium with this momentum, I don't see how the Broncos win that. And then the 49ers, the Patriots, they have the 49ers next week. So both these teams have some good, interesting games in week 4. We'll see what happens. But again, that's all I got for y'all on this one. Please like the video, share the video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel. And leave y'all thoughts and opinions in the comment section. I love talking some football. Always intrigued to know what everybody else is thinking, especially the other lovers of football like myself. And please subscribe to the channel as well if you have not already. I am Tony the Savant. Peace.